Okay, there's my little phone ding. I've gone live. Hello, everyone. Welcome today to today's free coaching day. I'm excited. This is going to be, how many have I done of this now? Is this our third one? I think this might be our third one. But I'm loving this. I'm enjoying this. I thank you for your questions. That really helps me to kind of set up the flow of what we're going to talk about today. If you are listening to this now or you're listening to this on replay, feel free to put any more questions in the comments. I'd be happy to share at a later date, maybe the next Friday. Next live Friday free coaching that I'm doing here for you guys. But welcome. Oh, hey, Anshuman, glad you're here. I'm going to be going through some of your questions today. Thank you for your presence. If anybody else is popping in now or on the replay, just say hello, say replay. Good morning, Enos. Hello, welcome. Oh, I decided to transition to my computer today in my office instead of doing it from my phone, and I can see the comments, so that makes me happy. I love to have this back and forth engagement, so feel free to share anything at any time, you guys. I'll keep my eyes on the comments today, but as you guys know me, I get into a little bit of a flow, which is also good, so we'll just see how this unfolds. But before I dive in, I know there is a few people who are new to this group, who are new to me. So I'm just going to say a quick hello, you guys. My name is Brittany Shawley. I'm a mom. I'm founder of Whole and Healthy Kitchen. This is my group, Whole and Healthy Living. You're all are welcome here. I have a background in the last 10 plus years. I have been a mindset and a well-being coach. I have a background in metaphysics, psychotherapy, holistic nutrition. So I really tackle any idea that has to do with increasing the quality of health or happiness in our body, in our kitchen, obviously, also in our mindset and in connection with our soul and our creator. So feel free to ask any questions that have to do with anything like that. It's definitely my passion and my purpose to help bring great change and great health and happiness to future generations. And I feel like that happens mostly through our moms and our parents. And so that's us, you guys. So thank you for being here. Okay, so maybe I'll just settle into asking some of these questions. But you know what, before we do that, it's been quite a busy morning. Let's just like pause and like breathe for a second. Just allowing ourselves to become fully present, to arrive today, to really listen to the messages that are coming forward, to just to see what is most helpful for you, what is speaking to you, what lands on your heart today, to really help you, to shift you. And so I just allow us to just be in the space, to just be listening and observing and taking it in. And I will do my best to be most helpful today, answering any of these questions. Oh, hey, Anshuman, thank you so much. You're saying congrats for my first employee. Thank you. Oh, that feels so good. I've been feeling a little, overwhelmed, I guess, maybe, with all of the things that have come into my life, into my world, and all my coaching clients and all my students for my Kitchen Alchemy course, that it was just like, there's so many things I'm not getting to that I wish I did. And the inspiration came to hire someone, and my perfect person came to mind, and she said yes. And I feel like it's a really true, powerful partnership, and I'm really grateful to have her be an assistant of mine to really be able to serve you guys even better, because she's taking off so many things off my plate. So I'm really looking forward to that transition. So thanks for saying that. It feels really good. So I think the first question I was going to start with today was one from Nikki. She spoke up when I put the post out this week. And so I want to target this one. Her question predominantly says this, how do we provide loving support to others who may be more negative in nature, and how do we ensure that we do not let that negativity impact our happiness? Who else can relate to this question? Some other language that I might put on this is how to deal with the ego in the self and in the others. And so this is a big topic, but I will do my best to simplify it and maybe just go through what I do in those situations. And for the most part, I ask for those who are in alignment with my mission and with my soul, and holding up the highest integrity of like kindness and inclusion and love. But sometimes, like when we have our family members, we don't really choose our family members. They just are our family members. So learning how to navigate and deal, with negativity and the ego is an essential lesson to learn, and it's imperative being on this earth, because we're not just going to eradicate and get rid of ego. We got to learn how to deal with it so that we can have it be undone in ourselves, and then demonstrate that possibility to others. And so the first thing that I do, let's say if I'm going to go over to somebody's house that I know is a little bit more of negative in nature, and I'm thinking of someone right now. And so the first thing that I do is I pray before I go there. You can say that you just ask for help, that you ask for support from something greater than yourself. So for me, the way that looks like is I ask to be used, I ask for help, I ask for guidance, and it's literally like, thank you for the help, thank you for the guidance, thank you for just like using me to be of service and of love to this person. It's more so like setting my intention before I even get there. And part of that is I have like an actual prayer from the A Course in Miracles that comes to mind that starts with like, I am here only to be truly helpful. I want to sing it. It's like, I am here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. And I love that prayer so much. And like he is like referencing like love, like light, like Christ, truth, whatever word works for you, just something greater than yourselves. But knowing that you're there only to be truly helpful and setting that intention is everything. That already is putting your situation in the hands of the Spirit before you even get there, instead of being like, oh man, is she going to be negative? Is this going to be hard? Blah, 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 grumbly, like, how am I going to deal with this? You set your intention right off the bat. So that's number one. Number two is to, in that process of prayer and asking to be helpful, is to like imagine that you're surrounded like by a bubble of light, like you're protected, you're in this container, and like nothing can intrude upon it. And then from this container of light, we pray again for the other person, knowing that the only reason that they're negative, and the only reason that they're negative is because they know not what they do, and because they need help and they need healing, and they don't know another way to get around it. And something that's important to remember is that when we are negative, a lot of the time, like it's a problem. It's a problem in our perception and how we see ourselves and how we see other people. And a lot of the time, what we do is we just project that negativity on other people. We just project it out on the world. We project it on the government. We project it out on our partners. We just project the negativity that we feel inside ourselves out because we're trying to get it out. It's a faulty problem-solving approach. We're not correcting the problem. We're just getting it out. We're thinking that it gets it out when it really doesn't. It just extends the anger or the negativity or the upset, but that's what it is. It's projecting. So if we, bringers of the light, know that we want to hold a loving container for this person who's often more negative, we also want to pray for them to be well. We want to pray for them to feel the light. We want to pray for them to be open to our calm energy that we bring to them. We want them to be open to hearing the Spirit inside themselves and in us. So we pray for them. We pray for their well-being. And then the last part about this is that when we are with them and we're bringing this container of light and we're with them, but then their negativity does impede in our bubble and does pop our bubble of peace, totally, absolutely okay. It is going to happen. But remember that it's part of the learning process, and it is for us to learn and heal something. It's not for us to feel bad or feel guilty about. It's for us to learn. So when I have my bubble be popped, the first thing that I'll do is go, uh-oh, like I recognize the rise in energy. Maybe my blood pressure goes up. My heart starts beating. You can feel the sweaty palms, like maybe it's like, oh, whatever you said hurt, or like, why are you saying that, or why do I have to justify myself? You start getting into that energy of maybe wanting to kind of battle with the ego, battle with the negativity. The number one thing that I do is I stop in my tracks before I say anything else, and I recite a mantra inside my mind. And I have loads of mantras inside my Kitchen Alchemy course that I offer to you guys as part of the Kitchen Alchemy course package. But for today, I'm just going to say one of the thoughts that often comes to mind. And for you guys who are Course in Miracles students, it could be a Course in Miracles thought, which I really, really, really recommend, because that's what they're for. But the one that I'm going to do today is, I am love and love is my guide here. Like, I am love and love is my guide here. And what this does, it puts you back into the position of power, of knowing that I'm not going to let their negativity and their fear affect me. But again, I am deciding for the love that I am, and I'm going to let love guide me. And maybe I'm just going to walk away. Maybe I'm going to say something that's a little gentler. Maybe I'm going to bite my tongue. Maybe I'm actually going to say something that will get them more upset, but it's coming from a place of peace that's going to help them in the end if they really look at it. So if we put that ourselves in the position of love, in the position of asking to be used by love, then that can almost like bring us back to like, what am I here for? And that's helpful. But if you're finding that trigger sticks and you don't remember the mantra in the time of the moment, which happens, this is part of mind training, it takes time. but I would just ensure that I take that experience home and I name the feeling. Like, was it frustrated? Was it angry? Did they make me feel shame? Did they make me feel embarrassed? Did they make me feel just upset? Like, label your emotion, and then you want to start questioning it. Like, where is this coming from? What is this here to teach me? What do I have to learn from this? Where did I learn this from? All of these things, because when you start to question it, what it does, it starts to unpack the belief, it unpacks the trigger, and it allows you to really look at it objectively and be like, like, can I see this differently? Like, can I see this differently? Can I let this pass through me and like forgive myself and forgive them and see where pain is coming from, and just start to explore it. And that is the process of undoing the trigger, because no one can poke our buttons if we don't have a button. You know what I mean? So when you get your button poked or you get triggered, that is our opportunity to deal with it and to learn with it. So I'm always like, okay, thank you for triggering me, because you're showing something in me that I haven't seen yet. So I use all of these people who have, more negativity in their hearts or minds as my teachers. And so if we can have that as the perspective that we take to this, then it becomes a lot easier to deal with people who are negative, because either we hold the peace and we stay in the peace for them to join in the peace, or they kind of slip us into negativity for a minute for us to heal and undo what those blocks are, those buttons are that they're pushing, so we can be in that container of peace next time. So that's what I use it for. That's how it is helpful for me. Hey Tanya, welcome honey, good to see you. So that was my answer to that question. Let me know if that speaks to you, if that resonates with you. If you want me to go deeper on that next time, I can always do that. But I have so many more of these kind of tools in this regard that really help you to go through this framework in my Kitchen Alchemy course. But this is an insight of what you can do if this doesn't come up into your experience. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, Nikki. Let me know. We could talk more about it too, my dear. Thank you for your question. Ta-da-ta-da! Moving right along, you guys. So the next question that I want to settle into is one that came up from a woman named Heidi. We actually connected today in one of our moms groups, which was fabulous, but she was talking about picky eaters. And I talked about this in our first video that I did, so you can always just go to the units at the top of this page and check out the first video. I've got a lot more tips up there that are really helpful and useful. But for today, I wanted to kind of hone in on a few things that I didn't say last time that I think might be helpful. The first thing that I wanted to make mention of is being conscious of our language that we use in regards to picky eaters. Okay, because there's a difference between, having pickiness when it comes to food, like, I'm a little bit picky with food, versus I am a picky eater. So for example, like if you have someone who is like angry, like they have anger in themselves, there's a difference between saying, I feel angry, which is honest, which is needed to say, which is real. It's meeting ourselves where we are. I feel angry. Like we need to admit our anger before we can overcome it, versus I am angry, right? Because there's a difference between a feeling, an effect, versus a being, an identity. So what I'm trying to get people to do is tease away the feeling and the present actions of the child or the person away from their identity. Because I am not angry, I might be feeling angry. I am not a picky eater, I may be feeling picky in this moment. And there's a very big difference between identity and expression of like emotion or action. So I really want to tease those away so that we don't brand our kids as being a picky eater, because then we just literally like brand them with it. And once they hear that and we say that over and over, it becomes part of their identity. It becomes part of who they are. And that's not what we want. We don't want picky eating to become part of who they are, but we do want to recognize when they are being picky and what they're eating. And then that's where we can kind of deal with it differently. So the first thing that I say about that is, as children observe their parents, and they learn mostly through observation. So it's more about what you do, not what you say. And so if we are going to say to our children, okay, you have to eat your vegetables, but on our plate, we don't have a big load of vegetables and we're not expressing our love for vegetables, they're not going to be enticed to eat theirs, and they're not going to want to eat theirs. So the number one rule when it comes to having children who are a little bit more picky with food is to be a role model. be their role model. Demonstrate your love for a big salad. Demonstrate your choice of choosing that apple over that granola bar. Demonstrate your choice of just deciding to have your half a plate filled with vegetables and you enjoying that first before anything else. You have to express and demonstrate your love for fruits and vegetables and berries in order for these children to be like, my mom loves it so much, why don't I? And then that also leads into getting them involved in the kitchen as much as possible. Get them their own knives that they can cut things, get them their own cutting board, their own apron. And I've found, especially with my daughter, if she's involved in the kitchen more, she will eat what she makes. It just makes her happy. And so that's something that could be exciting too. And maybe even if you have your kids sitting on your lap, you can go through recipes online. What would you like to make? What looks exciting? You know, what I do is I choose like 5 that like are in my okay books of making, and then have her choose one of those 5. You know, and then we can go through and have that fun. And then I have 2 more ideas with this one. The third one basically is like a smorgasbord. Have you guys heard of that? Is that the right language? But basically what it is it's putting everything out on the table and having your child choose based on what is available for them to eat. So for example, I do this a lot with oatmeal bowls. So I'll put like a big oatmeal bowl out. Everybody has their own oatmeal, but they can put on their toppings. They could choose their berries, they could choose their fruit, they could choose their nuts, they could choose their seeds, they could choose their sauces. They could choose whatever they want to put on their oatmeal bowl. And what that does is it empowers them to be making the decisions and us not forcing them to eat something. You have to eat your vegetables, you have to eat your fruit. We just make it available for them to choose. And when they're ready, they will choose that. We just have to be patient and continue to offer it and continue to offer it and continue to offer it without pressure and without force. Just like, if you would like, here it is, and look at me do it, right? So that's really important. So another smorgasbord, oatmeal, I do all the time. Fajitas is a really big one, or even just salads. Everybody has their own salad. You can put on your own toppings, your own cheese, your own sauce. All these things really make a big difference in getting the children involved with what they can decide, so that they feel like they are deciding and that they have a power. Because a lot of time that's what happens with picky eaters, is it's a power struggle. When children are younger, they don't have many places to make decisions. When it comes to food, they can make decisions. So we as parents have to empower them to make the right decisions, not through force, not through pressure, but through joy and through fun and through playfulness and through creativity and through demonstration. The last thing that I wanted to say here is that when they do even just take that one bite of new food, that one bite of new fruit, that one bite of new veggie, to reward them. So I often will make like energy balls, and I can put recipes below if you want. Just say energy balls, and I will share the recipe below. But I will often make energy balls and keep them in the freezer. And then when she, tries something new, even if she doesn't like it, just the fact that she put it in her mouth and made the effort, I will reward her at the end of the meal. So for us, desserts aren't an automatic at the end of the meal. Desserts come as a reward. We don't go to the store and just buy her things for no reason. We buy her things as a reward for what she does. So she really starts to see the cause and effect nature of things, that hey, when I do this, I get that. Hey, when I do this, I don't get that. So you start to draw a correlation between cause and effect, and that is really, really, really important for our children and empowering them to make decisions for themselves and in the kitchen. Awesome. Let's see this. I just saw your post here, Tanya. I'm going to read what you said, my dear. My daughter was the same way, ate everything, no issues. My son is the pickiest. He cooks with me. We eat tons of vegetables, but he is stuck. He eats bananas, some berries, cucumbers, apples. He won't even look at lettuce. We'll keep being joyful about food, and hopefully it will shift. I hear you, Mama. And you know what? I think what's really important about that, too, is that it's stages. It's stages that our kids go through. Their taste buds are changing, their teeth are growing in, their gut buddies are changing, their whole body is growing. And so I think that it is just stages in their relationship to food. And I think you're absolutely right. If you just keep demonstrating, and your daughter demonstrates, and you keep being patient and like joyful about food, it will shift. I know it will shift. Without a doubt it will. And I love that he's cooking with you too. That's incredible. I've found, what was I going to say? Yeah, like even trying to play games with the food to get him like outside of the box of like what he thinks he might eat, like kiwis, okay? There was something with Ella, she was like, ew, like kiwis look gross and they feel gross and they're all slimy. But one day I like just made a competition out of it, and I took, I cut the kiwi in half, gave her half the kiwi, me half the kiwi, and we each had a spoon. I was like, I bet you that I can beat you to scooping this kiwi out and eating it before you, right? And she's like, oh yeah, let's C, and she went through and we like did this whole game back and forth, and so it was fun. We're funny, we're laughing, it gets all over the floor, but she ate the damn kiwi, you know what I mean? And now she loves kiwi and she asked for it, but I tricked her. I kind of tricked her into it by like having fun. So I know that the more you bring that playfulness into it, it will come to be, and just don't stress about it. I mean, if he's already eating those things, that's fabulous. You guys will build on that in the end. And just experiment with different lettuces too, because I know Ella doesn't like spring greens, like spring mixed greens, but she loves kale. She also likes romaine, but she hates arugula, you know, so there's some times where we can kind of navigate and figure out what works, or just like putting maple syrup on it or something. So trust your creativity, and I know that it will work. So, and keep me posted with it too. When I think of more ideas, I can share with you, Tanya. I would love to. Tanya, you're saying kids love games. They do. Just got to make it fun. When we're stressing about it, they want to resist even more. But when we're playful about it, like, why is Mom having so much fun with this? Mom, you're weird, but I love it. You know? So yeah, so that's a good one. So I hope those are a little bit helpful. Awesome. Let me take a sip of water. Cheers, everybody. Oh, hey, who can guess what's in my water? Guess. Just guess what's in here. It's green. Okay. No guesses, huh? All right, so the next place that I want to go here was Anshuman, your questions. I hope you're still here. Sometimes I'm a little in-depth when it comes to my answers, but it is what it is. I'll do my best to hurry along, but I also want to give you these answers thoroughly. So, all right, Anshuman, you started with the question, how do we measure our spiritual progress? Another big question. But a few things came to me in regards to this. The first place that I wanted to start with this was to remember, ooh, spirulina, Tanya, very, very close. This is chlorophyll. I find spirulina so intense for me, I only put that in my shakes or my, hi, but it's chlorophyll, mint flavored chlorophyll at that. Hi. Yes. I'm hungry. Okay, I'll feed you after. We're gonna have lunch right after this, okay? Okay, we'll go talk to your daddy. He's supposed to be with you right now. Okay, you can have an apple or a banana or an orange. Okay, I'm going to make some lunch after this. She knows who to come to when she's hungry. Go see daddy. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so the question of how do we measure our spiritual progress, I first like to remember that within us, we have two thought systems, right? So coming from a metaphysical perspective, a psychological perspective, psychotherapy perspective, we have the egoic consciousness, which is our conditioned mind that is of fear and is always about I, getting, me. It's a very selfish thought system, and that's what we all grow up in, unfortunately. So we've got to change our mind about a lot of things. And then the other thought system that resides within is the thought system of love, or the thought system of spirit, that is joined with all that is, and that is where our soul is. And this thought system is all about giving, it's all about extending, it's all about loving, it's all about serving, it's all about helping others. It's the we mentality versus the I mentality. So we're on the spiritual path. We can recognize how far along we are by how concerned we are about our own perceived egoic needs. Right? Because in the spiritual wholeness of who we are, we've been given everything. Like, we are abundant, like, and we know that. And so we give from this place of abundance. The other thought system of ego is always of lack, that it always sees, I need this, I don't have this, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, all of these things. And so, like I said, we all have this ego first, and we've got to train our mind to be more in the we versus the I. But a big, awareness is, for how far we are on our progress, is how concerned we are with our own perceived egoic needs. Because the more we progress, the more it's about giving, the more it's about creating, the more it's about bringing happiness to others, because we realize that as we give, we receive, that as we teach, we learn, that as we love, we know we are loved. And so that is how we can kind of tell. Another way that we can tell how far we are along on the spiritual process is, you know how I was talking earlier in the first question from Nikki about the process of like, applying a mantra, if we recognize that, the negativity is affecting us, or let's just stick with that example, that the negativity is happening and we feel the rise in us, so we apply a mantra to feel more at peace. When we're on the spiritual path, that's called mind training. We're learning to train our mind so we're not like, harming the other one with our thoughts or words, or harming ourselves with our thoughts and words about ourselves. And that instead we remain present and peaceful, because it is in the now that we are, and it is in the now that the peace and the truth and the joy of our soul and spirit is, right? So we're training our minds to be present and not in the past and not in the future. Right here, right now. So when we're going through this process of being present right here, right now, not getting affected by the negativity around us or inside of us, we're going through the process of mind training. So at first, we are going to hit up against those experiences with negativity from others or inside of ourselves, and we're just going to hit that wall, and we're going to get triggered, and we're going to get upset, and we're going to get frustrated. And then after that all dies down, we're going to go, oh, I could have applied my mantra. Right? Like we remember afterwards. And that's okay. That awareness of remembering afterwards is the goal, right? But as you continue to remember afterwards, you remember afterwards slowly. Once you're in the center of the conflict, let's say, you're in the center of the self-sabotage, you're in the center of the like intense conversation with another person. When you're in the center of it, you go, oh, I can remember my mantra. And then you apply it, and you apply it, and you apply it in the middle of the conflict. And then, as you continue to do it in the middle of the conflict, soon, after a while, you're doing this for a while, then you remember to apply the mantra and to ask before you get triggered, before you fall into the sabotage or the negativity, that you've applied the mantra, you've asked for help beforehand. So that's also like a spiritual progress note, is that like, am I recognizing it after the fact? Am I recognizing it during the fact? Am I recognizing it before the fact? And I have clients that I've been working with for a long time, and they've gone through this progress. That at first it's like, oh, I feel like it'll never happen to me. It's so easy for you, Brittany, but it's so hard for me. I'm like, just keep applying. Just keep doing it. And what happens is they go through the same thing. That, for a while, it happens at the end after they've had the meltdowns, happens in the middle of the meltdowns, and then before the meltdowns. And that's obviously more preventative, where you can kind of avoid all that junk that comes from, faulty decisions. So that's another awareness of how to measure where we're at on the spiritual progress. And then the last one is, if you think of it in the context of like the fruit of the spirits, right? Fruit of the spirit, rather. So the fruits of the spirit are things like joy, open-mindedness, creativity, love, patience, forgiveness, kindness, compassion, inclusion. All of these things are fruits of the spirit. So it's more like asking, like, how often are we in that way of being versus where I was 6 months ago? And that's all you're comparing it to. You're not comparing it to anybody else. You're comparing it to yourself and your own journey. So for me, I do 6-month check-ins, and I ask myself, like, what is my level in happiness? What is my level in peace? What is my level in patience? What is my level in creativity? And kind of give myself a marker, like a number. And then 6 months from then, I will measure it again, and I will see. And I find that I'm a big fan of having like words, not just for the year, but for like the month. So let's say 1 month, my word is tolerance. So that whole month I'm like focused on being more tolerant of myself and of others, or resilience, and being more resilient, in life in general. And then I find that during that month I get to learn all about resilience, or all about tolerance, and that becomes like a new toolbox in my belt that I can carry with me as I progress along the spiritual journey. So it's always a matter of like, where am I today? How am I feeling in these categories of the fruits of the spirit? Where was I 3 months ago, 6 months ago? And as long as like you're progressing even a little bit in any of the categories, you're excelling and you're moving forward, and knowing that it's just, you're going to keep building and building and building and building. And if you're doing your little habits every day, your little prayers every day, deciding for love, deciding for joy, deciding for these things, that's what matters. It doesn't matter how many times you shift away from it. It matters that you come back to it. And the more that you come back to it, the more that becomes your natural way of being. So let me know, Yanshi Man, if that was helpful for you, if that speaks to you in measuring your spiritual progress, and if that's kind of what you were looking for and what you were meaning. Another thing to point out there too is we don't always know how far we've come and what we're actually good at. It's always back to just like trusting that if you're doing the best you can, that's all that matters. Your best is enough. Your best is enough every single day. If you've done your best, you've done enough. And I think that that's really important to remember. Last note on this, in my course, I have a whole section on healthy habits where I help people to set up habits that support their spiritual, physical, and mental well-being. And I help them to set it up in a way that it sticks and it really, really works for them. And it's habits that bring about the quality of being that we want to be. So when you know what you want to be, which is, more spiritual in nature, which is what you're talking about, you would then set up habits that you would need to do in order to bring about that spiritual nature within you. So if you would like more information on that, I'd be happy to talk more about that too. And so I think there's 2 more questions that Anne Schumann said, and then I think that I'll conclude that for today. I know, Enos, you mentioned a question about prayer, but I think I'm going to answer that next week. Just thinking about timing for things. But the second question that you asked, Anne Schumann, was a really good one, right? And I've kind of already talked about it a little bit today in regards to like the picky eating category. But you're saying, like, as parents, how do we motivate our children to eat healthy? Okay, that is a really, really big one. And I always say the number one thing is demonstration. It really has got to be demonstration. And to the best of your ability to get all the older siblings and both parents on board with the demonstration, because then they are surrounded by a unit that is deciding for health and wellness together, and then they start to see over time that maybe they're the only one who is not deciding for those things that are going to nourish themselves in the way that they should. And so demonstration is always number one. I've said it before too with the picky eating, include them in the prep, get them, interested in the different vegetables by teaching them how to cook them differently, how to chop them differently, how to prepare them differently. I'm a really big fan of, starting with maybe adding more flavor enhancers to the meals at first and then slowly taking them away. So for example, if you're going to roast some cabbage or roast some sweet potatoes and carrots and you want to serve them roasted vegetables that day, if they're still on the side of not really being interested in eating healthy food, my rule is always you have to have one bite. If you don't have one bite, there's no dessert, there's no TV, there's no reward. You can't receive anything if you haven't given it a chance, right? So my whole thing is to be okay, well, here's these vegetables. You're new to, testing the waters with this. Let me put some maple syrup on this, or let me put some coconut sugar on this, so that at least their taste buds flare up and go, sweet, that's delicious. A little bit of salt, fabulous. That tastes so good. And then slowly, after a little while, then that you can take away the maple syrup and take away the coconut sugar, and then they're just eating the roasted vegetables, the caramelized deliciousness that they are. So those are little tips as the home cook to get them interested in it. But I'm a really big fan of demonstrating and including them in the prep so that they can learn all about it. And then another thing is just don't buy the junk food you don't want them to eat. Just don't buy it. We have this thing of a no buying policy. If I look on the back of the ingredient label and it has sugar in the top 3 ingredients, it's a no bueno. Not gonna get it. If I look in the ingredient label and I cannot pronounce any of those ingredients, or a few of them I can't pronounce, no bueno, don't want it, don't buy it, it's not going to be in my house. And I find that when we don't give the option of having the junk food, we're not going to choose it, right? So I think it's really important of being conscious of the options that you do have for them, and knowing that it's not even the junk food that they enjoy, that's just their taste buds that have conditioned to taste it. And I mean, scientists make these food products, these processed food products, to be desirable to the palate, but they're not good to the gut, and they're killing off the good bacteria as you eat them, which makes it harder to eat the healthy food and enjoy the healthy food. And so I'm a really strong believer that if you want desserts and you want sweets, make them yourself, and you can make as many as you want. Store them in the freezer, but definitely do your best not to have the junk food in the house so that it's not even an option. But then you can always be hey, if you eat this salad, then we can go out and we can have a sundae. So there can be a special occasion thing that is of a reward in nature that you go out of your way to do, but I would get them out of the house if you can, and then that helps. You're welcome, Angie. I'm glad it's speaking to you. I'm glad it's helpful for you. Good. So yeah, those are the main things that I would do as a parent to motivate the kids to eat healthy through demonstration, not force, and including them to the best of your ability, and keeping the junk out of the house as much as possible, and rewarding when they do a good job. Okay, so the last thing, you guys, this is something that Nancy Man also asked, which is great, and it's practical, so I think maybe we can all dive into this together. What this is called is, I'm going to lead you guys through an exercise that's called anchoring. This is something that I learned through neurolinguistics programming. Neurolinguistics programming is like neuro, like your brain. Linguistics is like the language that you use, and programming. So you're like reprogramming your brain. That's what this is for. And there's like a link between physical actions that we do and the brain chemistry that happens. So this activity that's called anchoring, the point of it is to help you to come back to that calm state, or that energetic state, or that confident state, or that peaceful, alert, aware, present state, whatever language you want to put on it, in a time of need. So this kind of hooks up very nicely with what I was talking about before, with like using a mantra in those difficult experiences. But this time, what you're going to do as well is to like choose an anchor that really, really would be simple for you to do in a time of need. So my anchor is to put my thumb and my first finger together. Just like that, I have some friends, some clients that put their hand to their heart like this, and like that's their anchor. I have some people who have an anchor where they kind of like rub their fingers together like this, like softly, right? It's all about what works for you. Some people, they're more rhythmic in nature, and then they'll tap, and that's their anchor. But I just recommend that you choose an anchor that works for you. And me, it's pinching my first finger and my thumb together. So that's my anchor. So what I'm going to do with you guys here is run you through this little bit of an exercise so that you can basically program your anchor to work for you, so that you can use it in any time of need. So it would be like if you're going into that stressful situation, you pinch your thumb and your first finger together and you breathe, and you're automatically shifted into that zone and energy of more calm, peace, confidence, presence that you want to have. So who wants to do this anchor with me? Who wants to set their anchor? Give me a yes below, or a heart, or whatever. Because we're going to do this together. So the first thing that we do is you decide upon the anchor that you want to have. So mine's going to be the first finger and the thumb. Feel free to let me know what you choose below. And then what we do is we just kind of close our eyes and we get comfortable. And you don't have to pinch your fingers together yet. But what I do is I like to close my eyes and just settle into this space. Breathe a few times. And then I really like to start thinking about children in the room.
Mommy?
Ella.
I need my bingo card and my time frame.
Okay, it's right there. Online schooling. Using my
No
anchor.
bingo card, no bingo card, no time frame.
Just grab all these papers here. They're Ella's papers.
We already looked through them.
Okay, well then I don't know where it is.
And there's no
Can you
time
just
frame.
take all of these papers and take them in the kitchen and deal with it, guys, please? And then the papers that are right beside the printer. No, not on the printer, beside the printer. Yes. And there.
Oh, that's me.
They're exactly where I said they were. Okay, guys. Thank you. Okay, we're setting that anchor. See, it's even in those moments where it's like I'm in the process of almost leading you guys through like a meditation, and then the whole family comes in. It's like, oh goodness me. Okay, so what we do is we close our eyes. We'll come back into that soft space, and we breathe deeply. And then what I like to do is think about some of those memories or experiences that bring about the quality that you want to anchor into. So if it's calm, like imagine yourself maybe those times that you've gone for a walk, even the slight, flurries that are happening around you, and you can just feel the calmness, hear your feet, feel your breath. Or those times of like when you're in meditation and you feel quiet and calm, or when you're doing yoga and you feel quiet and calm, or when you're reading a book, or any experiences with other people. Maybe when you're listening to something, learning something, and you just feel very calm, very present. Recall all those memories and feelings, and see all the colors that it might be for you. And once you feel like these memories and these feelings of calm and centeredness are as strong as they can be right now, that is when you press into your anchor. So my thumb and my first finger, I press in there and imagine if all of those thoughts and memories and feelings and sensations and energies and calmness are going into my anchor. And then I generally just open my eyes, wiggle my hands, just kind of like shake it out a little bit, coming back to this present moment. And then we're going to do that again, because what this does is it tells your subconscious mind that this is something that you want it to remember. And it really helps to anchor in that feeling of calm or peace or rest that you really want to have and call upon at any time of need. So let's do that again, guys. Let's close our eyes. Let's breathe deep. And let's call upon some more memories of where you felt calm and at rest. Perhaps when you felt confident and you felt connected. Perhaps grounded and centered. What are those memories? Notice how you felt. Give it a color. Feel that smile on your face. Your shoulders are back. Your head lifted. Breathing deeply into those calm and confident and present feelings. And then when you feel like those memories and those emotions and those feelings are at the peak, you put your thumb and your first finger together. Set it all to that first finger. Synapses in the brain are firing. Connections are being made. And good. And so you can open up your eyes. And so this now is how you've created an anchor, so that when you are about to go into a situation that is heated, or you need to bring up a conversation to your husband or your children, or you just need to go out into the crazy world as it is right now, calm yourself and use your first finger and your thumb or whatever your anchor was to help you to bring back those positive energies of calm and centeredness and confidence and whatever it is that you need. So that is like a tool that you can use with you and to bring with you at any time of need. And that's it. How did that feel for you guys? Did that resonate with you? Did that speak to you? Did you feel the power of that? Feel free to listen back to this at any time, and you can go over that again. And the more that you go over it, the more that it deepens it, and it just becomes a tool in your toolbox that you can use at any time. So it's called anchoring. So if you wanted to do some more research on that too, you can. So my friends, I think that is all for today. That is what I wanted to cover and what you guys asked me about. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Thank you guys for spending your precious time with me and really learning and shifting with me. I'm grateful to be present for these live videos. And so if anything else comes up this week, feel free to send me a message or on my posts, and I would be happy to answer them next Friday. So you guys have a beautiful weekend and have a beautiful week ahead. Thank you for being here. I love you. See you soon. Bye.